Hi, I'm Cindy Lesko, and I'm going to talk to you about my country, Nigeria, for HIWD 320. Nigeria's history is filled with strife fueled by the trade routes and religion that have caused disharmony regionally and nationally within the country of Nigeria. It begins with the trade routes in southern Nigeria, and slave trading was very common in the early part of Nigeria's history, long before the Atlantic slave trade. According to Equiano in his autobiography, slave trading was common, and they would trade prisoners of war or criminals who were charged with kidnapping or adultery. Along in the 1450s, created the perfect storm for 3.5 million Nigerians to be transported across the Atlantic to serve in the Brazilian sugar plantations. This would be a result of the Europeans' taste for sugar. It would bring destruction to the Nigerian culture, and according to Doug Mann, it would cause their unwritten history to be lost. Not only did it create a disintegration in the family unit, but also on a community unit. But at the end of the Atlantic slave trade would come Christian missionaries into southern Nigeria, especially Mary Slessor, who would give 39 years of her life to the people. And not only would she bring the gospel, but she would participate in everyday life and serve in their courts. She would die and be much beloved by the people of Calabar. The second trade route that would bring strife would be the sub-Saharan trade routes along the Sahara Desert and down into the northern part of Nigeria. This would see the advent of Islam, and in 1807, Umar Dan Fodio would launch a jihad that would create a religious change to the landscape of northern Nigeria, which in the mid-20th century would create the next level of strife. But in order to, the British colony would come into Nigeria in the beginning of the 20th century and create peace for these three regions of northern, southwestern, and southeastern Nigeria under British rule. When Nigeria would have their independence in 1960, this strife that had been simmering underneath the surface would erupt again. And in 1970, these three regions, in order to deal with the strife that they caused, would be divided into 30 states to create peace in the country of Nigeria. Towards the turn of the 21st century, strife would be created again, and not caused by trades, but in religion between the Muslims and the Christians. And this would be a result of Boko Haram, which is a Muslim extremist terrorist group that reigns in northern Nigeria and plagues on the Christians. Recently in the news was their capture of 300 Muslim girls because they do not believe in girls going to school. This has created extreme unrest in the northern area. And because Christianity and Muslims are at the heat of this strife, and Nigeria is filled with strife, has a history of strife, eternal strife, can the persecution of Christians in the north eventually produce the true peace of Jesus Christ that Nigeria's internal soul needs? Thank you.